Heroin, a bill that can bring change to the rising number of heroin addicts in the state of North Carolina. Addiction is something new in the society that we are living in. Thus, it should be taken as something serious and good measures deployed in the aid of helping victims of addiction. Addiction is something that can easily be controlled if all heads are joined together to bring forth a better idea and to kill this thing called addiction. In North Carolina, the steps were taken to find those guilty of using drugs to be imprisoned. There should be steps and measures to be followed instead of imprisoning the addicts. Jail terms normally come to an end, and a person who is jailed will normally return to the prisons within a few days, and especially if they are using heroin. Heroin addiction. Heroin addiction is at a rise in North Carolina. The addiction affects the brain, and just about every person is different. The drug affects people in different ways. Some may take it and abuse it, and others may never get addicted. But most who try it become hooked. As the world keeps on evolving, it is better ways to come up with possible solutions. Just as some people are addicted in various activities, so are the people who use drugs. It can't be avoided, but it is something that can be taken into consideration, and a method to help those addicts can be taken. In most of the scenarios, people normally addicted to drugs behave different from others. It is something pushing them towards what they are doing. Most of them are involved in criminal activities, and they end up ruining their lives. It is something good to see. It is not something good to see other people suffering. There are ways to help them with these problems. The nation's heroin epidemic is growing into a serious issue in North Carolina. How it works. It usually gets introduced after a patient has a surgery and was prescribed opioids for pain. Then they no longer need the medication according to the doctor. 3, they turn to ways of finding easy access to getting the same kind of high for a cheaper price. Then that's how they turn to heroin. The best step to take is to make sure the government takes part in treating such kind of people, and by doing that, it will increase the opportunity of decreased substance abuse and the return to prison. Ignoring the addicts means that the world we grow having a lot of people addicted to certain drugs and no effort shown to helping solve the problem. If the state says that it doesn't treat the drug offenders, then it is considered a missed opportunity that aids in the improvement both in the safety and public health. Treating the drug offender should be a better way towards enhancing a better society from any kind of problem related to drugs. Even though it is something hard to do away with, measures should be there to help reduce the impact to the greater state. Laws that North Carolina has in place. It's called the Stop Law. This law is put into place for physicians to put into the system when there are people that have been prescribed a drug. Doing something to treat the drug offender will in return reduce the rate of reincarceration and in return will help a great deal to improve the medical outcomes of addicts. According to most of the researches conducted, it is very evident that most of the addicts who are released from prison end up finding themselves back within a short amount of time. If good measures are taken, then this is something to expect at all times. Treatment is the only sure way to do away with such kinds of problems. Taking those drug addicts to prison does not solve anything. The best solution is not to incarcerate, but rather treating the addicts will be a permanent solution towards this kind of problem.